Evening boys and girls, I've just come down Pakefield tonight. Never been here before and I suspect the person walking this way is Bobby Bobnuts. Yes, that is Bobby Bobnuts.
Come on, get up here.
Come on Bob, just getting the gear down, have a little video. Introduce yourself, this is Bobby Bobnuts. Mad as a box of frogs. We'll get the gear out and let's have a go. Well, rig wise is the same as Hopton the other night. Single clip down with a pennel on the end. This one's got a nice bit of heron and a bit of squid down to a 6/8 breakaway. As you see, the hooks are protruding lovely. So I'll now whack this out. I never fished this beach before. It's like a shingly old beach. One thing amused, I'm getting worried already, is Bob's got an igloo. I haven't really had much to do with him before, but I've been a beach buddy man. He was telling me how easy he had to put up. Telling me about how he put his stuns on his flaps. I've got to say, I've never had a conversation about putting stuns on your flaps with a grown man on the beach before. Look at him grinning. He knows he said wrong. I think he was using innuendos there and nothing to do with built shelters. Well, first blood to Bobby Bobnuts. He's got a half-tidy ting on there. I'm sure I know what that'll be going to. That's for the pussycats. These pussycats do like a nice whiting in the bucket. Oh, first blood to Bob. Well, I don't call him Lucky Bob for nothing.
Unlucky Bob, no.
Well, that's both rods now set up and cast out. All I've got here, that was basically the high water. Now I started to ebb a little bit, so I cast out my right hand rod, expecting it to go to the south a little, and that ain't, it's gone north. So obviously flood tide is finished with. It's in the end of the flood. I wasn't quite sure what the tide times are up here. I think Bob might be giving misinformation, but let's hope we get a few fish tonight. I deserve one after Whiting Fest. One thing I did forget to do was wash down my bib and brace after heron fishing last night. And core, I started to dry now in the wind, but Jesus Christ, when I got that out of the van and unfolded it, that stunk to high heaven, full of soggy heron scales. But you see now the wind started to dry it. And after getting like 160, 170 stone, that was going to get covered in scales. I should have hosed it really, but I couldn't be bothered at 12:30 in the morning. That was too late for none of that malarkey. Well, that's my first fish. Greedy little bugger. That's on the squid and black lug. Eating a bad sized whiting really. I'm sure Bob will like him. Ain't a bad size, a lot better than the size of the standard fish I was having at Hopton the other night. They were poor little skinny things, but these are nice plump whiting, these are. Well, now get him off and get that rebaited and get that back out. What we need is a COD. Well, I just reeled in the other rod for the first cast, and there's a lovely cracking whiting on there too. Cool, they're a lovely stamper fish. They're not skinny old ones the other night, they're lovely cracking whiting. You can see the size of compared to the lead, they're really good whiting. Really nice fish. Just what we want to see. They're far better than catching them old pin whiting, at least you can feed them. Well, I'll get this unhooked for Bobby's kitty cats and rebait up. This is on the mackerel and squid and get this back out. Now Bobby Bobnuts has got another nice whiting. They're cracking whiting. I'm really after a rooker, but look like it's going to be another Whiting Fest. There's just tons of them. This time of year on the east coast, that's just alive with whiting for at least a month. Whiting after whiting after whiting. I think he's giving this one surgery.
He already had surgery on his eye.
Oh.
A shitty eye.
I don't think he's got to worry about his eye or his going, Bob. Inside a cat. And that's another whiting. Come on, we've got to get through whiting soon. I'm fell up with catching whiting. All right for fish cakes and cats, but this is about the third or fourth trip on the trot. We're just whiting and more whiting. I need something else, please. No more whiting. Even a little rooker. Even one the size of a postage stamp. Just no more whiting. Well, that's mackerel and squid. Another bloody whiting. God, another whiting. I said cracking whiting, but I want something a bit different. Black lug, go on. Let's have a little coddling. or even a rooker on a bit of herring. Go on, sort of a bit different. But they are cracking whiting, you can't complain about that stamp. They're not a bad fish at all really, for the size. Well, that actually isn't a bad bucket of whiting starting to build up. There's some cracking whiting in there. Look at that. Stop looking at everyone mad. You can't complain with whiting like that, can you? A lovely whiting. After a food cast, I soon start to add up. Make a few lovely fish cakes or goujons out of them. They soon add up, don't they? Them decent whiting add up, boy, them little pins. You need 50 to get a quarter bucket full, but there's nothing wrong with taking good sized whiting on for your tea. You hear a lot on these forums and videos condemning people for taking fish on for the tea, and you can't kill this and you can't kill that. Well, that's just plain wrong in my book. If you want to go fishing, they're over the size limit, and you want them for your tea, you take them. Everyone's turning all precious now. And they're warning about you can't take this, you can't take that. It's like people say you can't take smooth hounds. The sea has got more smooth hounds in it than anything else. If you want to take any of them for your tea, don't let other people persuade you and tell you shouldn't do this, sport fish, because that's a load of crap really, isn't it? If you want something, you take it. You've earned it, you've worked at it, you caught it. You have it for your tea if you want it. Bob with another whiting. Another nice fish really. I think we're having a whiting fest again tonight. Come on Bob, get some of your luck out. We need some luck. You are normally lucky Bob.
Plenty time.
Nearly as lucky as my mate Lakey. But it's not called Lucky Bob, it's called Lucky Lakey. I don't know if Lakey be watching this, but ayo. Plenty more white where they come from.
To the top of the bracket.
Well, that's certainly the best whiting of the night so far. That's a stonking whiting. Oh, look at that. That's a cracking whiting. Oh, I just think it's got the pointy hook in my finger. But yeah, can't complain with that for whiting. That's a stonker. Well, we'll get him off. Might even measure that one. So it's a good whiting. Well, that's another whiting. That's a greedy little bugger. Big old bait, and that's got it in his mouth. Look, this one isn't that big, so I'll unhook this one and chuck this one back. Got to have a few away so the cats don't eat them. Return them for another day and all that lot. Well, you can certainly tell there's a match on tonight. There's loads of anglers along the beach. I'll keep sticking my eye over and having a look, and all they're doing is got like 3 up flappers on and catching 3 little farty whiting every time. They're not after anything big. I think doing what we're doing, trying for a codlin or a rooker, or you don't get nowhere near as many fish, but you do sort out the quality of whiting amongst them. We've had very few little whiting all night. All been a nice stamp really. I'd rather catch a few. Oh, has Bob got another one?
Yeah.
Oh, look, Bob with another whiting. See, they've all been a good stamp of whiting really. You can't really fault them. You haven't had many in the bucket for the kitty cats. You can't really fault them at all. Well, we're sitting here being a bit lazy tonight. I'm sure we could catch a lot more whiting, but we're just sitting here yarning. We're now looking at the sky, and Bob's pointing out Orion's belt in the sky, the 3 stars here and the one each side of this lot. Last time I heard about Orion's belt was watching Men in Black, and that was on a cat's collar. Things you talk about when you're fishing, bloody hell. Talk about any old mumbo jumbo really, but that's quite amusing, isn't it? Especially when we take the pee out of each other. There's plenty worse things you can do than fish on the beach, isn't there? Have a good chin wag. At least you don't feel rough the next. You have the same sort of laugh as when you go down the pub, but you don't have a hangover the next day, so it ain't all bad. Well, you probably wouldn't see it now, but we keep seeing lightning in the sky. And Bob being Bob, get on his phone and get his lightning app. And apparently that's all on the Dutch coast. You see the lightning all the way across. It's amazing, isn't it, really, how far you can see lightning from. But you see little faint bits, and then you can look on his lightning app, and it's all across. See it for miles, can't you? I was wondering what Bob was up to then. He was sitting here drinking his flask, and I keep seeing flicks of water going in front of the light. But what's he bloody doing? Like, his finger in it and kept flicking water in front of the light. I thought, what's he bloody doing? Strange bloke, well, we know that. And it turned out that's the whiting in the bucket. their tails flicking now and then and splashing water in front of the light. That weren't Bob and his coffee at all. I questioned him about it. He went, "What are you on about?" He said, he asked me if I thought he was some sort of retard or something. You can't use language like that anymore, Bob. That's the 21st century. Yeah, I thought he's been a bit retarded too, flicking coffee. Ayo, it's fun and games. Retard Bob and his coffee flicking. Obviously. Bloody hell. Silver whiting a whiten. I wasn't expecting that. I had so many whitens. I wasn't expecting a little doggy. They're funny old things. I like their eyes. Their eyes are funny looking old things, aren't they? Look, it's perfectly hooked in the corner of the mouth. It's trying to wrap itself around my arm. I'll get the old doggy back. I'll turn it into a circle first so it doesn't turn my arms, get me with the sandpaper. That's a nice change. Or it's only a manky old doggy and half the population think they're crap, or half the anglers think they're crap. But when you're catching whiting all night, that's nice to get a change and something a bit different in it. Look, Bob's just had a wee. I'm surprised, I never seen Bob have a wee before. I thought he wore them old person incontinence pants and just sat there and warmed himself up. But yeah, the man does wee. Well, getting some from what weren't whiting was short-lived, just reeling the other rod. Got another whiting. It's a cracking whiting, but that's still a whiting. It's nice to have a doggy to break it up. But you got to expect that this time of year on the east coast here, that's just knee-deep in whiting. Like the angling clubs have been coming down, like Fish Yarmouth Central Beach the other day, and the wind, like the first 1, 2 and 3, they all had over around the 100 whiting each. That's just so knee-deep in at the minute. The shoals off here must be phenomenal. Well, I just stuck on my headlamp. Bob said he's going a bit dim. That's getting cold, so he's going dim. I don't know if he's talking about the lights or him. He's never been that clicky, have you, Bob? He's a good boy, really. There's plenty of worse bit of the fishing with Bob.
Concentrate on catching fish.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You cast like once every half hour, having a coffee, taking the pee, and then reeling in again. Just the same as I'm doing. I think that's to be another whiting fest, but at least fishing with Bob make it worthwhile and a good laugh. That's nice. I do fish a lot on my own on the beach, but it's nice to have a social now and then and have a laugh with Bob.
Speak for yourself.
Cheers, Bob. He's a peculiar little fucker, but he's amusing. Oh, I shouldn't have said that word. Naughty me. I mean, he's a peculiar person, but he's very much appreciated. Is that better, Bob?
Yeah, that's more like it. It's my mental health.
Oh, upsetting your mental health? I can't do much, Bob. You've always been a bit mental. He's a bad influence, he is. Bob's got a new theory. Well, we both agree, I think within about a few minutes we're getting a whiting on the hooks, but we're just leaving it for a bit to mature, as they say, and then reeling it in.
See if it get bigger.
Yeah, but I think Bob's leaving this whiting on. He's got there so long, I think it'll be 3/4 of a pound by the time we reel it in. I get a dire old age, wouldn't it? Just reel a jaw in or something. But I'm sure we're getting bites pretty quick, really. Well, at least we are sort of, look at these matchmen each side of us, and they're catching 3 a cast, but look, a lot of them look tiny old little things. But we are sort of like the better quality whiting with the old pennel rigs and bigger baits. But we just can't seem to get through the whiting apart from that one dog. Is anything red different?
That's because we're professional fishermen.
Professional fishermen? Bloody hell, Bob, I think you've gone a bit far there.
I can't wait any longer.
Oh, he's now going to reel the whiting in before dire old age. That's going to be 3/4 of a pound now. Bob has been on there so long. Look at that.
What size is that whiting?
He's got a doggy and a whiting. That's a cracking whiting. That's a monster. Gone for a... He changed rigs to the dropper rig this time. So he's got a doggy and a cracking whiting. That whiting is a monster, isn't it?
Beautiful.
Cool, you wouldn't mind it. See, that's right, you left it on there so long, that grew. That looked like a small codlin size of that. That's a cracking whiting. Yeah, doggies go on back, but that whiting in. That's a cracking whiting. Compared to my size 10 boot, that's a good whiting, isn't it? You don't get many that big anymore. See, Bob? You sorted it out. Leave it on there for ages and they'll grow eventually. His theory was correct.
Let's give him a weight, a size.
Yeah, we'll measure this one. That's probably the best one of the night. He's even giving it a wash. I don't think that's going to...
Got a couple of blood.
See, look, Bob's done a good idea. He's put his measure and taped it onto his tripod. How big is it?
30, only 33, 34.
33, 34. Thought it was a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea, isn't it? He fed up with carrying his measure around, so he stuck it to the angle on his tripod. So he's always got it with him. It doesn't take up any more room. I think that's a good idea, Bob. See? You have these little bright moments now and then. Not very often, but you do now and then. That's a good idea, that is, Bob. Oh, Bobby Bobnuts is reeling in again. What's he got? Oh, blankety blank.
That was my clues in one. I thought I'd have a change. But
Bloody hell, that's the first blank of the night, Bob.
I know. Doing something
Bob
right.
blanked.
I doing something right.
That's because you had that dogfish and that big and the biggest white of the night, innit? Bob's blanked. Oh my God, Bob, what did you even put bait on? I got to say, it's harder to get nothing on a cast than it is catch with these amateur whitings about. And he's, oh no, you can't go in your bucket and bait one up and say you caught one, Bob. That's all on video. If you can see what you're doing, he wouldn't make a very good match angler. He'd cheat like hell, he would. We've only caught 3 whiting tonight. You keep hooking them up and putting them back in the bucket. Childish, Bob. Very childish.
Yeah.
Well, would you believe it? That's a whiting for me, and Bob's got another whiting as well. See, last cast we had doggies and stuff, and now it's back to whitings again. Getting quite a few in that bucket now. Plenty of whiting. Bob will be making plenty of fish cakes tomorrow, or goujons, who knows. His little hostess with a mostess is a good little cook. He cook a load of stuff and bring it into work. You make a very good burger. And even squirrel pies. I've had some of his squirrel pies. They're bloody lovely. I think Bob's losing his mojo. He just reeled in and had another blank. Bloody hell, Bob. You're forgetting to put this bait on again, ain't you?
Yep,
See, you're just putting elastic on, innit? The might try to catch like you used to do babbing for eels years ago. We used to put wool through worms and just the eel's teeth used to catch on the wool. You're trying to do it with bait and elastic for whitings, aren't you? They ain't working, Bob. Bait. Bloody typical. Been fishing in the same spot all night and just got hefted. Obviously the line didn't part on the lead knot. That parted a lot further down the line than that. There's quite a lot of line gone off his reel now. They'll have to be re-spooled. There must have been the line's been on there a while. There must have been a few nicks in the line. So instead of parting at the lead or not, there must be a little dink or something in it, and I probably lost about 50 yards of line. But there you go. I've got plenty of line at them. I'll have to strip this off tomorrow and fill it up with new line. But that's life. You got to lose gear now and then. If you don't want to lose gear, don't go fishing. Well, that's the end of that. I just broke the rod down, took the reel off and packing it away. And listening to Bob like the other week where he parted off and lost a lot of line, he had a spare reel with him. Then I twigged. In the summer I bought 2 Pen 525s Mark 3s off a mate. They look like new, never been hardly used. And I got 2 of them at home and I never used them myself. Really, I should have bought them as a spare, shouldn't I? That's a good idea, Bob. In fact, it's probably the best idea you ever had. Because they ain't going to do much at them, are they? They're sitting at them on the side, collecting dust, never hardly been used.
What did this sound remind you of?
Yeah, that sound reminded me of my line snapping. Thank you for that, Bob. Much appreciated. He's very childish, Bob. Well, it's now 11 o'clock and we're now going to call it a night. Just had my last cast, reeled it in and nothing. I've finally done a blank. Whatever next. Has Bobby Bobnuts got anything? Bob's day reeling in. That's reeling in last time. Have a look. Bloody hell, Bobby Bobnuts. You got 3 whiting. Oh, he's reeled in someone else's gear. It must be one of the match anglers.
Mine has had a blank hook.
So Bob reeled in and got a blank like me, and now he's reeled in someone else's trace what's got 3 whiting on it. That's the way to end on a high, Bobby. Reeling someone else's, there's loads of line.
Yeah, someone else's gear.
Reeling someone else's
Not
gear.
your one, is it?
No, I ain't got a 3 hook
Oh, you
trace
ain't
on.
got a 3 hook on, have you?
Reeling someone else's gear and 3 whiting. Now that's how you end a session. Well everyone, thanks for watching. It's been very enjoyable, having fun and having a giggle with Bob. So it's a bye from me and it's a bye from Bob.
Me.
See you later boys and girls, hope you enjoyed watching. Catch you later, night.